everybody doing good? Thank you. Like Pastor Sai said, I am Amber Van Hoose, and I serve as the Director of Operations for Set Free Monterey Bay. I'm also a part of the core leadership team at Venture Church in Salinas, where I lead the kids ministry, but my most important title is mom. Dang. To my 15-year-old daughter. Ministry and leadership, often mean that my time and energy are very stretched, and she graciously shares me with so many people. So the impact I get to make, it's not just mine, but it's ours. I love you. Also want to honor Pastor Sai and Pastor Leland and the entire leadership team here at Monterey Church. I'm so grateful that you would have us come and speak. I want to honor my pastors, Pastor Matthew and Anna Silvestri. I'm grateful for the Venture family who have joined. I've seen quite a few of you here. I don't know what's happening at Venture, but thank you guys for being here. My incredible Set Free team right here in front cheering me on, and my family. I love you guys so much. And this new family, Monterey Church. Thank you guys. Thank you. I'm honored to stand here with you today. I hope that you brought something to write with. I don't know how you guys operate at Monterey Church, but we come from a note-taking church. We know that it's up to like 50% more likely that you remember what I say if you write it down. I recently also heard that you get the fast pass into heaven if you take notes. Or jewels in your crown, so whether you like efficiency or bling, note-taking might be for you, okay? So we have gathered today to worship a God who is mighty and merciful. But as we open Psalm 9, we find that worship doesn't just express praise, but it awakens purpose. Psalms 9 reminds us that God is not indifferent to suffering. He is a refuge, a stronghold, a defender of the oppressed. And today I want to speak to us from a message titled, God, Our Refuge, and invite us into that truth, not just as comfort, but as a calling. Because the same God is calling his people to act in a world plagued by modern-day slavery. Would you guys pray with me? Hey, Dad. Thank you. Thank you for this day. Thank you for ears that are ready to hear, hearts that are ready to be softened. Let us hear not just ancient words, but your living voice, calling, comforting, commissioning. You are our refuge. Yes, and you're also our rally cry in a hurting world. Move us today from awareness to action, from comfort to calling. Let justice and mercy not just be distant ideas, but living realities in us. We are listening. We are willing. Lord, speak. In Jesus' name, amen. Her name was Amina. Just 14 years old when she was promised a job in the city. A man her uncle said she could trust, that it would help her family. He seemed kind and reassuring. But when she arrived, there was no office, no job, just a locked room, strange men, and a nightmare that lasted for nearly 2 years. Amina became a number, a possession, a prophet. She is one of the estimated 50 million people trapped in modern-day slavery today. But one day, after a long investigation and a late-night raid, Amina was rescued. Later, when asked how she survived, she said something quiet, almost a whisper. I used to pray. I don't think God forgot me. You don't need to hear any more details to know that Amina's story is heartbreaking. Maybe you've never faced trafficking, but still, many of us have known moments of fear or betrayal or feeling trapped in something that we didn't choose. Psalm 9 isn't just for the obviously oppressed, it's for anyone who has ever needed rescue, anyone who's ever whispered, God, do you see me? And Psalm 9 tells us, the Lord is a refuge for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble. Those who know your name trust in you, for you, Lord, have never forsaken those who seek you. That promise written over 3,000 years ago is still true today. God has not forgotten about the Aminas of this world. He is not distant. He is not passive. He's a refuge, and he calls us, his church, to reflect that same refuge. Psalms 9 teaches us about God's heart for the oppressed and what it means for us to be his people in a world full of injustice. So for my note takers, point number 1, God sees the oppressed, but the Lord reigns forever. The Lord is a shelter for the oppressed and a refuge in times of trouble. From Genesis to Revelation, one truth remains unshakable, that God sees. We don't serve a passive deity who stands at a distance. We serve a God who draws near, who bends low, who enters the suffering. In ancient world, most gods were associated with power or war or nature. But the God of Israel, our God, is distinct. He reveals himself not only as creator and the king, but as defender of the weak. He's a God who knows. In Exodus 3, God speaks to Moses and says, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out, and I'm concerned with their suffering. God isn't just aware, he's emotionally invested. The word concerned here in Hebrew implies a deep personal knowing. He doesn't see statistics, he sees sons and daughters, and that includes you. Maybe you haven't been trafficked, but I can almost guarantee you've been mistreated. You've been dismissed, or you felt unseen. Maybe your pain hasn't made headlines, but it's still heavy. The truth is, for you, God sees. Not just victims of injustice, but the quiet battles in everyday lives. He is near to all who are crushed. He doesn't overlook the cries in the night. He hears every single one. And he's a God who responds. The Hebrew word oppressed, translated in Psalms 9, means those who are crushed, weighed down, or defrauded. It's not just about physical pain. It touches emotional, spiritual, and systematic suffering. This includes victims of modern-day slavery, those trafficked for labor, sexually exploited, or manipulated through fear. And it's important to understand that not all trafficking looks like what we see in the movies. Some victims actually never leave their home. Sextortion or digital trafficking, where predators online manipulate people into sending videos or pictures and then use those to blackmail them. This is one of the fastest growing forms of exploitation with our youth, and at extreme cases, some are taking their lives because of it. Others are exploited by people they trust, who they may believe that they're in a romantic relationship with, or even their own family members. This is what we call familial trafficking, and it happens way more than we want to believe. Most victims aren't kidnapped or taken across borders. They're slowly groomed, emotionally manipulated, and even made to feel complicit in their own abuse. Trafficking isn't always about chains in foreign countries. It's about phones and living rooms and neighborhoods like ours. But even in those dark, hidden places, God sees. The Lord hears the needy and does not despise the captive people, it says in Psalms. Whether a victim is across the globe or in our zip code, known or unknown, crying out or too afraid to speak, they're not invisible to God. And if we're his people, then they must not be invisible to us either. Someone say number 2. God is the stronghold in times of trouble. The Lord is a refuge for the oppressed and a stronghold in times of trouble. In biblical times, a stronghold was a high place of protection, fortified against enemy attack. It was the last line of safety when a city was under siege. David knew what it meant to run to the stronghold. He literally hid in caves from Saul. But here he says, God is my stronghold. God is a place of protection. God isn't just a philosophical comfort. He is a real refuge. And maybe you personally, your enemy isn't a trafficker. But what about anxiety? What about burnout? What about heartbreak or shame? Maybe your stronghold is just in your car on the way to work, where you cry and hope that nobody sees. Psalm 9 says that even there, especially there, God is our refuge. He becomes rest to the woman who is sold night after night. He becomes safety to the boy recruited out of the foster placement. He becomes healing to the girl traded to cover her family's rent. God is our refuge and strength and an ever-present help in trouble. This means that God does not retreat from brokenness. He places himself right in the middle of it. He is a God that fights for the oppressed. A stronghold is not just a hiding place, but it's a command post. From the stronghold, battles are launched, and our God fights. In Exodus, the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. God is not neutral in the face of injustice. He confronts oppressors. He tears down strongholds of evil. He exposes wicked systems. And today, he still moves through ministries, churches, and everyday believers willing to say enough. He's not only a refuge for survivors, he's also strength to rescuers, advocates, intercessors, and frontline workers. In Proverbs, it says, the name of the Lord is a fortified tower. The righteous run to it and are safe. We run to him, and then we run from him into a world carrying his protection to others. Trust in God brings hope, is my third point. Psalms 9. Those who know your name trust in you. For you, Lord, have never forsaken those who seek you. This verse is personal, especially for those who have experienced betrayal. Survivors of trafficking often describe how trust was used against them. You can trust me, I love you, said the trafficker. You'll be safe, said the recruiter. This is for your family, said the liar. So trust becomes a wound. And maybe that's you too. Maybe people have used trust to manipulate you. Maybe a parent, a partner, a boss. And trust still feels risky. I get that. Psalms 9 invites us to trust not in people, but in a God who has never failed. The psalmist says, those who know your name trust in you. God's name is God's character. In the Bible, to know someone's name was to know their nature. To know God's name is to know that he is Jehovah Shammah, the God who is there. Elroy, the God who sees. Jehovah Nisi, the God who fights for you. Jehovah Rapha, the God who heals. And when you know his name, you can trust him. Even when people have failed you, Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. He doesn't manipulate. He doesn't abandon. He doesn't betray. He is hope. Hope is the result of trust. Hope is not wishful thinking. Hope is built on something sturdy, a faithful God. Hebrews 6 says, we have this hope as an anchor for the soul, firm and secure. When we trust God's name, survivors begin to believe that healing is possible. Rescuers keep going when the work is heavy, because it is. Intercessors press in knowing that God hears every single cry, and God never forsakes. This is the promise trafficking victims, justice workers, and each one of us cling to today. Hebrews, I will never leave you nor forsake you. Whether it's a girl trapped in a brothel, or a man crying out from a work camp, or a believer overwhelmed by the scope of injustice, God is there. God is here. And when we know that he will not forsake us, we don't just survive, we start to act. We become carriers of that hope. If you've ever wondered whether God sees you, whether he hears the cries of the forgotten, the psalm says, yes, he does. And not only does he see, he invites us to see too, and to act. Psalm 9 isn't just a comfort. It's a call to action. And today, right here in our community, Set Free Monterey Bay is answering that call, and so can you. Can you guys turn your eyes to the screen?
Set Free Monterey Bay aspires to be the guide that equips a child to evade human trafficking.
The wisdom that guides community leaders towards successful human trafficking eradication.
And the last stop on a survivor's journey to healing. Set Free Monterey Bay was essentially birthed out of a gospel and justice event at a local church.
We did a whole breakout session on human trafficking.
Many of our founding members attended and knew in that breakout conference that we in Monterey Bay needed to have an agent for change.
Human trafficking is hidden in plain sight. It is happening in Monterey County. It is happening in the county over. It's happening in every single state in the US.
I think the first step is awareness, understanding what human trafficking is and what it looks like in our community, us being such a hot spot for tourism that it fuels sex buying.
It happens right in our backyard. And so I think it's important for Set Free and organizations like it to continue to let people know what's happening. Human trafficking is real, and it also can come to an end.
We fight human trafficking by prevention education, awareness training, and survivor restoration through long-term residential and outpatient care. In the beginning of Set Free, we really focused our attention on street outreach. We partnered with law enforcement and Felicia George, who was doing education in the schools already around this subject matter, and from that, Set Free Monterey Bay was born.
You know, for me, in the beginning, it was always about kids, protecting kids. Too often people don't understand that human trafficking is psychological more than it's physical abuse. And if we're talking about our youth, and you just think about developmentally where they're at in those teenage years, for me, it was always so important to provide that education.
Set Free Monterey Bay gets the privilege of serving the under 18 population who may have been trafficked or exploited through our contract with the County of Monterey, typically foster youth who may have experienced trafficking or exploitation. This is one of the joys of my work. The original mission of Set Free Monterey Bay has always been to open a residential home for survivors of human trafficking. In 2022, we secured the home and opened our Safe House residential program, and really this Set Free mission came to life. Our 2-year residential program is free of cost to the ladies. We are focusing on basic needs and then some.
This has to be a holistic approach to the people that we serve. There isn't a one-size-fits-all for any of the women that we serve, any of our clients, and that's always in the forefront.
A day in the life for one of our residents. Monday through Friday, they have class and a consistent schedule from 9 to 4. They are focusing on their minds, they are focusing on their hearts. We are showing how to build healthy relationships. They are learning life skills. They are really rebuilding their lives after exploitation.
In all of our attempts to bring restoration, to bring hope to the women in our home, we need to do that with integrity, not only so that they can continue to heal and re-enter society in a positive and productive way, but that our team can be stronger and that we can just continue to be the positive change that we want to see in our world.
My why behind getting involved in Set Free Monterey Bay, I wasn't really sure at first. I just knew that I wanted to be of service, and then I started hanging out with the ladies at the house and never felt more on purpose in my life. Felt as if there was something missing that I didn't realize for a very long time.
My why behind Set Free Monterey Bay is being a voice for other survivors, to be the voice that I once needed, that I didn't have. I think of when a resident got her GED, got her high school diploma, and immediate text message that I received, thanking us, but just really that she had done it, right? That she went back and that she accomplished this huge thing in her life. I think of another resident who was really challenging. She had some severe mental health diagnosis, and we just loved on her. And I remember a card that she wrote me for my birthday saying that Set Free saved her life. That's why we do this work. It's definitely not easy, but it's so rewarding.
We know we have the right team. We have amazing women in the right places, and I think about this idea of changing the landscape of human trafficking, and it's big. And at the same time, it's possible.
I envision 10, 15, 20 years from now, a room full of survivors who get to tell their stories about how Set Free Monterey Bay changed the trajectory of their life.
I think freedom is the first and foremost value that guides our organization, our decision-making, our purpose, whether they're a survivor or someone who's simply involved as a volunteer in our organization can experience a lack of freedom, and that is why our organization is here. Whatever place or space you engage with us, we want you to experience freedom.
Psalms 9 reminds us God is a refuge and a stronghold. He doesn't just fight for the oppressed, he fights through his people. Set Free is a clear example of his work here on the ground, rescuing, healing, educating, restoring hope. When you pray, when you give, and when you serve in partnership with us, we are all becoming that refuge and stronghold. We reflect God's heart for injustice in a broken world, and we show his love in action. Some of you might be thinking, that's a lot, Amber. This is powerful, Amber. What does this have to do with me? I'm not a rescue worker. I'm not trained in this. And here's the truth. God isn't asking for perfection or training. He's asking for participation. That might look like mentoring a survivor. Maybe using your financial background or your fundraising skills or HR or legal experience to serve on our board. Maybe it's learning more. Maybe it's becoming what we call a defender, somebody who gives $25 or more a month to support our mission. Maybe it's simply asking, what's my part in this story? I would love if you would come see us at our table after service, and let's see. Let's see how you can partner with us. How together we can reflect the refuge heart of God to a community, to our community and beyond. You don't have to do everything, but you can do something. And when each one of us do our part, darkness doesn't stand a chance. And the truth is that there's room for you in this story too.